Avowed is one of the chances that Xbox has to be able to set a stronger foothold when it comes to diversity on the games for different types of genres other than shooters, and the pedigree for games that Xbox has forefronted on the competition, it hasn't been that amazing. And even then, when we first saw the gameplay for Avowed, everyone was still skeptical about what they were seeing. There were a lot of concerns about the gameplay looking a little bit whiffy still, the combat animations and connections from hits and the flesh sounds and things like that were still a little bit whiffy. Now the previews are out for the game that is going to be launching on February 2025, and I'm happy to say that it seems that Avowed has a very bright future. All of the information that I'm about to present to you right now is from a concession that I have found from every single article that I've read, every single video that I've watched. Everyone seems to have seems to be in the concession these points that I'm about to mention to you, and the game just looks amazing. So have in mind as well that this is a game based on a pre-established world. It's on the world of Pillars of Eternity, so it is in the Mythos world building for the world of Iora. One of the most important aspects that I think that I personally needed for it to be that, this was always this was something that it was also confirmed a while back, that there is going to be a third-person camera angle. I know there's a huge discussion on people saying I do not mind not having third-person camera angle. I personally do. Specifically too, for example, in games like Cyberpunk 2077, where they showcase a little bit more of a cinematic experience when it comes to the cutscenes and also the Outer Worlds. One of the biggest deterrents that I did enjoy the Outer Worlds, but I didn't enjoy it as much as if I would have a third-person camera angle. Now I know that when it comes to the gameplay, it's much smoother, and this is something that it has been confirmed by the players and the media outlets that have been posting content about this game, that yes, the game feels much better when it comes to first person camera angle. More often than not, you are going to be playing on the first person camera angle. But the thing is that you actually do have a character creator in here. I remember back in the day of the Outer Worlds, what was the point of me them allowing me to create a character that at the end of the day I was just never going to see, dude. I was never going to see that character, so what was the point of giving me the choice to do so? The third-person camera angle, it's also because of fashion and the eye palette, the eye enjoyness that we have when we're seeing a character, not only to get cool armor, but to grow in power and potential. Many games out there, many games out there, like for example Monster Hunter, which is also going to be releasing in 2025, on February 2025. The whole purpose of layered armor is because we like to see our character, we like to see the armor that we got, the shiny loot. What's the point of being able to have a huge amount of loot, which is going to be one very important thing about this game, if I am not able to have a third-person camera angle? But enough of that. The thing is that it is here, we do have third-person camera angle, but then let's talk about the combat system, which people have said that yes, it feels much better when it comes to the first-person combat system. But it's also, have in mind that it's also closely resemblant to that of Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls, if you better like that. It's still that kind of combat system, but I think that the build crafting that we are going to have in here, that's what makes this game special, because so far it is confirmed, the people that have played, that there's a huge, and I mean a huge, array of different weapons. Those different weapons are going to be presenting you different combinations as well for your weapons, so you can mix and match weapons to do different kind of things. So for example, you can have a wand in one hand and a sword on the other one, or dual wielding or two-handing, and then you also have a loadout that you can swap seamlessly in between in the fights. So on one hand you could, for example, have a sword and shield, and then on the other hand you might have a crossbow and a wand, or a bow and things like that. And the amount of weapons that you have in this game, it's just longswords, axes, maces, bows, crossbows, firearms. It's just an amazing amount of weapon variety in here, that if you tie this to the combat system, it allows for you to have, while still, yes, it is still like kind of that Wi-Fi kind of combat system that you have in Skyrim, but because of the versatility that you have in here, I think that it's much more enjoyable because of that fact. But yeah, that also ties into the character build crafting, which is one of the main aspects that we like here on the channel. The character build crafting, it's going to be amazing because not only your weapon loadouts are going to play a part in here. Remember that, yes, I recommend that when you start playing Avowed, you marry yourself to some type of weapon or some type of loadout, because your weapons level up as you use them. And remember that this is not going to be a game like Skyrim or Fallout or Starfield, where you have like a huge amount of exploration to do. Like, this is fixed exploration. We'll talk about that in a little while. So if you reach the end of the game and you have been wobbling with so many different weapons, then you might end up being able to use several different weapons, but you're not going to be proficient. You're not going to be good to use any of them. So that's something that you need to have in mind. And that's going to be part of the character build crafting, because not only that, not only do you have the weapon skills that are going to be playing a major part of your build, but you also have the character skill trees for warrior, ranger, mage, and there's also the god-like skills. This is also all subject to respec, which is amazing. And talking about being careful with our weapons, it's also very important that you manage your resources, because your weapons also rely on resources for upgrading your weapons, and to my understanding, we have fixed world loot in here. So you can only get so much to upgrade a weapon, so if you want to branch out in too many weapons, you might fall short when it comes to upgrade materials, but not only the upgrades materials, but also the aforementioned, the skill points that you are going to be getting for those weapons. The world exploration is also going to be tied to this, because you're going to be getting your weapons through world exploration, but also the build crafting, because the materials that you are going to need to upgrade those weapons that you decide that you want to use, they are going to be found on that world exploration. It is more a little bit condense the world. Let's have a comparison in here to other worlds. Like I mentioned, this is not like a 1,000 hours RPG like you have in Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls. The stuff that you have to do in here, it's more compact, so you can just go there, and wherever you go, there's always going to be something interesting to explore. It is divided on sections, so you have the regular overworld, which is going to be the living islands. As a consensus that I have found in here, most of the player base that have played the first area of the game, they have said that as an average, we have 6 to 10 hours of exploration in here, and then you can do your math. So for example, if we have like, for example, 5 areas, then that means that you can squeeze about like 40 to 50 hours of exploration, and if you have seven locations, then that's up to 70. So that's ideally how it's going to work. You're going to explore those areas as soon as you found out everything that you need to find from there, and you have gathered all of the materials that you need from that place, then you can move on with the story up to the next area. One thing to have in mind as well as about the exploration is that it's a little bit I'm not sure, dude. I like to explore things. On Avowed, everything is just marked to you. Everyone has said that every single place where you go, there's going to be a marker where you can it's going to tell you that yes, you can interact with this thing right here. This is something that you can interact with. So the world feels static to some extent, because if you want to have that sense of exploration that some other games offer to you, I don't think that that's going to be that present in here because of that fact, because there's not going to be like, hey, I managed to solve this my way. I went to this place, or I found this thing and I interacted with it. I didn't know that I could interact with this. Everyone is always going to be on your face in here. If you can interact with something, it's going to be labeled to you for you to know that you can interact with that specific something. But if you find, like, for example, a door or crates or cliffs that you cannot go through, you're immediately going to know that you're not able to go to that place because it is not labeled as an interactable something. So that's kind of a bummer for exploration wise, I think. Now, performance is something that I think that no one is addressing the way we should. Initially, it was stated by Obsidian, well, the very same nonsense that Bethesda did with Starfield, that they are aiming for 30 frames per second for a more cinematic experience, and that you don't really need 60 frames per second with a single-player first-person game, when in reality it's just a sorry excuse for them not optimizing the game proper. Yes, well, nowadays most concerning gaming issue. Same as Starfield with later updates, Obsidian is now saying that the delay to 2025 allowed them to furthermore optimize the game, and that with later patches they wouldn't completely discard a 60 FPS game mode. This has been a constant with Xbox titles over and over again. Starfield, Hellblade, Avowed. Not that I want to side with Sony in here, but dude, like, all the games released with tons of modes so that we can choose how to play them. And honestly, this game right here, it still suffers again the same thing as Starfield. Yes, it looks pretty, it looks beautiful, I like the art style, but I wouldn't say that this is one of those graphical marvels that pushes the boundaries of the generation with the new technologies for graphical qualities, so that you can like this. It is a good looking game, but there are far better looking games out there that actually do reach those 60 FPSs, which this game don't. So that's an issue. If you are not aware of this, on launching Xbox Series X, this is going to be 30 FPS locked, and if you're going to be playing it on PC, then you probably are going to need a really beefy PC if you want to squeeze out those 60 FPS. If not, then you're probably going to have to bear through lower resolutions, which is a bummer. Now, here's one of the juiciest parts about this game, and one that I'm actually quite excited about: the narrative of the game. This is of course based on the world of Eora. If you're new in here, into the lore and that kind of stuff for Pillars of Eternity, I am going to try to remake some of very crappy videos that I was doing on Avowed when the cinematic trailer launched. But yeah, like, this is the world of Eora, of Pillars of Eternity. It's just massive, beautiful, and lore-wise, one of my favorites ever. These characters, events, time frames, historical events are just crazy in Eora. So you are sent into the Living Lands, a region never explored before in Pillars of Eternity, nor in any DLC that has come on Pillars of Eternity. They basically have a clean state white canvas where they can paint and write a story while still having and using an already established mythos in the world that already exists, and they didn't have to actually craft the lore for it. As the main narrative, you are being sent as an imperial godlike envoy into this uncharted and lawless place, so you can like give them like democracy. So this world, it's basically going to be open to you for you to do whatever that you want to do. Here's what I love about this world that we have in here, that it's already pre-established. It already has a pre-established sense about you as well. They know you and they know why are you there, and everyone has different perceptions and opinions. This is very much confirmed by all of the articles and previews that I have seen. Some people see you as a godlike savior, some people see you as they are like on edge whenever they see you, because they are distrustful about what is it that you are going to do in that place. And this is this is where I think that Dragon Age Veilguard enters into the scene with drama again, because this is the kind of RPG that we love, because here the world is expecting for you to show them a face, and everyone has confirmed that you can be whoever you want to be, good or bad. And that is a amazing thing, because the world, it's terrified of what you are going to do on the Living Lands. It is your story to craft, it is your story to build. So not only the developers had their canvas to draw this world in here, it's also ours to decide whether we want to be a tyrant or we want to be a hero, we want to be a savior, and the world to have a perception about us whenever that we portray that countenance to the people in that world. Now, that is to say that this is Obsidian, this is the kind of writing that you are going to have. I think that we still need to see the narrative. That's the proposition that we have, at least on the front, right out of the bat. But as a proposition, I love it, and if they manage to nail it, I'm going to be so happy. Now, there's nothing so much that we know about the companions, but we know Kai, the first one you meet. It's a mercenary, which is voiced by Brandon Keener, which you might recognize him from everyone's pal from Mass Effect, Garrus. Right there, you have immediate charm. Now they just need to give him like a good quest, dialogue, which, well, again, it's Obsidian. I think that we all can have like our expectations when it comes to Obsidian. I think that the writing on the Outer Worlds, it was just top notch. I loved it. That's one of the major aspects that I love about the Outer Worlds. So I guess that narrative wise, we're on a good hands in here as well with Avowed. Anyways, if you like the content, like and ever super appreciate it. And also, there you go, you're just a beautiful person. You're in the gorgeous and beautiful person. Subscribe to the channel. Join the Discord. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye.